never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Happy Tuesday to everybody out there, and I want to go ahead and start today's video with the sad news to go ahead and get it out of the way, because I hate reporting sad news, but I'm sure everybody's heard by now. I just haven't mentioned it because, for one, I debated on whether or not I wanted to mention it because it is sad, and for two, I was kind of waiting to see if they were going to release any more information. But it's been 2 weeks now and they haven't, so I'm guessing they're not going to. But former Arkansas Razorback quarterback died, I want to say it was 2 weeks ago today. I'm pretty sure it was June 27th. But he passed away in a drowning accident. He was 35 years old. He died in Destin, Florida. But his current job was coaching a high school team in Whitehall, Arkansas, called Whitehall High School. So, of course, obviously, they had to hire a new coach. But we know in the summertime, at all these beaches, the rip tides and the rip currents are very, very, very common. But from what I understand, from what I heard and what I read, there were no riptides reported at the scene where he drowned at. So I'm not really sure exactly what happened. But either way, I believe it's been exactly 2 weeks ago today that Ryan Mallett passed away in a drowning accident. And speaking of college football, Northwestern is facing some hazing violations. Their head football coach, Pat Fitzgerald, has been suspended. Now, from what I gather, from what I understand, it was nothing major, just hard coaching. But this day and time, you know how it is. If you're coaching hard, you're being cruel. But it's one of those things, like I've reported here on the channel numerous times about numerous teams in numerous sports. If all this stuff is true about the hazing at Northwestern with Pat Fitzgerald, it didn't just start. You don't coach somewhere 15 years and all of a sudden you start getting tough. If he's tough now, he was tough 10 years ago. But Northwestern has been winning. So just like you see at every other school and every other sport, as long as you're winning, nobody cares. Now they're going through a rough patch. This past year, they were flat out just dreadfully awful, and that's putting it kindly, and it's looking like they're going to be pretty bad again this year. So, of course, when you're struggling, it's a big deal, because when you're struggling, people are going to say you're struggling because the coach is too tough. When you're winning because your coach is tough. That's just how it is in every sport. If you're winning, it's okay. If you're losing, it's not okay. So we'll wait and see what comes of that. But the Atlanta Braves are off right now because of the All-Star break. They're back in action on Friday against the White Sox. Right now they're sitting with a record of 60 wins and 29 losses. They're on pace right now for 109 wins. They have an 8.5 game lead over the Miami Marlins, and I still say, and I'm still convinced that the Marlins will not finish in second place. I think the Phillies do. So I think as long as the Marlins are in second, the Braves are okay. Of course, they had 8 players make the All-Star team. I've already seen the starting lineup for tonight's All-Star game. If it was legit, the Braves have 3 players that are starting. And Brian Snitker's already said that Bryce Elder will not pitch. And Spencer Strider will not pitch. So they'll be there tonight for all the festivities, but they will not pitch. On to some NASCAR news. This past Sunday night, we had the Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart from Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the race was absolutely tremendous. The only thing that holds it back from being a perfect 10 as far as on a scale of 1 to 10, and NASCAR can't help it, was the rain. They had to cut the race short because of rain. So the end of the race was a dud because you hate to see things like that happen. But outside of that, the race was exceptional. I think Atlanta has now passed Daytona and Talladega as far as being the best super speedway race. They've shortened it from 500 miles to 400 miles. And last year, both races, and this year, both races were absolutely tremendous. So I think Atlanta Motor Speedway did the right thing. So if you want to watch a good super speedway race, don't go to Daytona. Don't go to Talladega. Go to Hampton, Georgia, where the Atlanta Motor Speedway is. But William Byron came home with his 4th win of the season, followed by Daniel Suarez, A.J. Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, Kyle Busch finished out in the top 5. 6 through 10 was Brad Keselowski, J.J. Yaley, Justin Haley, Ryan Blaney, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounded out the top 10. And of course, there's no more off weeks this year in NASCAR, so they're back in action this Sunday afternoon, 2:30 on USA. It's the Crayon 301. Now, this racetrack is currently called New Hampshire. When I was growing up, it was called Loudon. And for some reason, since Loudon is in New Hampshire, a few years back, they decided to stop calling it Loudon and start calling it New Hampshire. But it's the same racetrack, so if you're a long-time NASCAR fan, you know all about Loudon, New Hampshire. So the Crayon 301 this Sunday should be another great race. But if you're a fan of super speedway racing, I strongly encourage you to go back and watch this past Sunday's race. The race from start to finish was absolutely exceptional. Any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Homes for Our Troops is a publicly funded 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Since the 2004 inception, nearly 90 cents of every dollar spent has gone directly to our program services for veterans. Visit at hfotusa.org. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. What do you call a camel with no humps? Hump free. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.